In every age there have been whispers of a deeper wisdom, truths too radiant, too liberating to be entrusted to the careless or the corrupt. These truths were hidden in symbols, in parables, in what Scripture calls the dark sayings of the wise. To the casual reader, they appear as riddles. To the hungry seeker, they shine like golden threads leading home. This is the wisdom of the Kabbalah, the mystical heart of Scripture, and the secret that unites prophets, mystics, and sages across the centuries. It was never meant to be recited like dogma, nor confined to dusty libraries. It is a living fire, passed from spirit to spirit, breathed rather than memorized. And when received, it does not leave one unchanged. It awakens, it illuminates, and it frees. But why was it hidden? Why cloak such wisdom in riddles and metaphors? The answer is both simple and profound. Not everyone is ready. To the unprepared, light can blind. To the unsteady, power can corrupt. And so the ancients wove their teachings in layers, like a jewel wrapped in cloth, visible only to those with eyes to see and ears to hear. The psalmist wrote of it, "I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old." These sayings were not dark because they were evil, but because they were veiled, waiting for illumination. They were riddles, hints, doors concealed within walls, and every seeker was invited to knock. The Kabbalah, whose name means to receive, is one such treasury of veiled wisdom. Born in the mystical currents of Judaism, it is less a book than a living current, an oral river flowing from teacher to disciple. In its essence, Kabbalah is not about studying volumes of theory. It is about reception, receiving inner light, receiving the pulse of the divine within your own consciousness. This is why the ancient sages hesitated to write it down. Books can be copied, quoted, and misused. But true wisdom, they knew, cannot be stolen or sold. It must be lived, tasted, experienced. And so they spoke in riddles, they wrapped truth in story, and they reserved the heart of the matter for the one who was ready to receive. Even Jesus followed this path. When he spoke to the crowds, it was always in parables, simple stories of seeds and fields, of lamps and coins. But beneath the surface lay keys to the kingdom. To you it has been given to know the mysteries. He told his disciples, but to them it has not been given. He was not excluding out of pride. He was protecting the sanctity of truth from being trampled by those who had no hunger for it. Over time, however, much was lost. Institutions rose that sought not liberation but control. The church, the state, the empire. Each had a vested interest in people remaining dependent, obedient, and fearful. Mystical knowledge threatened that power. For if people discovered that the kingdom of heaven was within, who would bow before gilded altars? If they realized that angels were impulses of consciousness, who would pay for indulgences or fear eternal torment? And so wisdom was suppressed. Texts were burned, mystics silenced, heretics executed. What survived was carefully edited, diluted, or buried beneath ritual. Yet truth, like water, cannot be destroyed. It seeps through cracks, whispers through parables, shines through prophets, and calls to us even now. Let us pause and ask, what is this wisdom that was so feared? What does it teach us about who we are and what this life means? First, it teaches us that heaven and hell are not distant places awaiting us after death. They are states of consciousness here and now. When ye are consumed by hatred, envy, or despair, you already know what hell feels like. When you are lifted by compassion, wonder, or peace, you have tasted heaven. The afterlife may extend these states, but the roots are within us even now. Second, it teaches us that angels are not winged beings fluttering in the clouds, but impulses of divine energy moving through consciousness. An angel is any force that lifts you toward truth, any whisper of intuition that guides you to love, any inner stirring that draws you back to your higher self. To believe in angels is not to expect feathers at your window, but to recognize the luminous currents already alive within you. Third, it shows us that parables are not quaint stories for children, but encrypted instructions for meditation and transformation. Take, for example, the parable of the sower. Seeds fall on rocky soil, thorny soil, and fertile soil. At one level, it is a simple farming tale. At another, it is a precise map of consciousness. The rocky soil is a mind distracted and shallow, where wisdom cannot take root. The thorny soil is a heart choked by anxieties and desires. The fertile soil is the one who meditates, who clears space within, and who receives. To hear a parable is one thing. To meditate upon it is another. To embody it, to practice silence, to let the seed of truth grow in your own soil. That is transformation. The sages of the Kabbalah also spoke of the tree of life, with its 10 sephirot, or emanations. These are not merely abstract concepts, but inner pathways, steps by which divine energy flows into creation, and by which the seeker ascends back toward unity. Each sephirah corresponds to an aspect of being: wisdom, understanding, beauty, strength, foundation. To meditate upon them is to awaken dimensions of your own soul. Now, how do we bring this into daily life? It is not enough to know these teachings intellectually. Wisdom must be received. So we return to the essence of Kabbalah: reception. Begin simply. Find a quiet place. Sit in stillness. Breathe deeply, as though each breath is a thread connecting you to the infinite. Imagine that with every inhale, you are receiving light, not from outside, but from within, as if your soul itself is glowing. Let the noise of the world fall away. Let your mind settle. In this silence, you may recall a parable, a verse, or a symbol. Hold it gently, not analyzing, but letting it echo within you. Perhaps the words, "The kingdom of heaven is within." Let them sink past your mind into your heart. Breathe them, feel them, receive them. Over time, something shifts. The symbols come alive. The parables become mirrors. The dark sayings are no longer dark, but radiant. You begin to see that everything, every trial, every joy, every encounter is part of the great teaching. This is what the rulers feared: a people who needed no external priest, who bowed to no false throne, who carried within themselves the light of splendor. For the Zohar, the great mystical text, is called the Book of Splendor, because it describes that radiance, the light that dawns within when one awakens. And here is the final secret: that light was never absent. It does not come from books, nor from teachers, nor even from the heavens above. It is already in you, hidden, veiled, waiting to be received. The task then is not to acquire, but to uncover; not to climb, but to awaken; not to wait for heaven, but to realize it now. History shows us that systems may rise and fall, dogmas may tighten and loosen, but wisdom endures. The Kabbalah, the teachings of Jesus, the parables, the riddles, all are reminders pointing to what is already within: the kingdom, the light, the splendor. So the question comes to you here and now: will you receive it? Will you dare to step beyond tradition, beyond fear, beyond the comfort of borrowed beliefs, and taste the living waters for yourself? Close your eyes. Breathe. Imagine a seed of light at the center of your being. With each breath, see it grow brighter, spreading warmth, clarity, and peace. This is the hidden wisdom, no longer hidden. This is the splendor that transforms. Receive it, live it, and let your life itself become a parable of awakening, a story through which others may glimpse the light. For the dark sayings of the wise were never meant to remain dark. They were always invitations to seek, to find, and to shine. The kingdom is within you. The angels are within you. The light is within you, and it has been waiting patiently for this very moment.